Yes, sir. Me and Ruby Girl walking down to the end of the street. Feels a little bit breezy right now, but I'm trying to figure out if it's gonna be windy on the water, or if this is kind of the opportune moment to get the first kayak ride of the season in. Kayaking in the wind sucks. Like pretty much like anything like 8 miles per hour or more is pretty uncomfortable to kayak in. I mean, it becomes quite the workout. You become a little bit of a sail, if you will. So check down on the water here. If the wind is chill enough, then we could go into this creek and not be paddling out in the open wind, but we shall see, brother. What you think, Gru? What you think, girl? What you thinking about, girl? Yeah, it's fairly windy. It would kind of be blowing us back to the launch point here, and the tide's real low too, so we might have to have like water shoes on and walking through the muck a little bit. Thing is, with this boat launch here, it gets pretty shallow in here. You could see the mussels there. That's like normally where it's at high tide, way up there, so it gets pretty muddy out there. People actually launch like pretty full boats off this ramp here if it's high tide. Like, I'd love to get a little jet ski or something like that to pop in here, because I feel like you could be pretty flexible tide wise. What we should do is paddle out real early in the morning. Probably wouldn't be too windy then, and the tides might be right. Yeah, probably not the day. Probably not the day for the first kayak ride of the season.
One for the money, two for pussy and foreign cars, three for Alizé niggas deceased behind bars. I rap the vanguard, check that prognosis is the real of showbiz. My window faces shootouts, drug overdoses, live amongst the roses. Only the drama, for real, a nickel plate is my fate. My medicine is the ganja, here's my basis. My razor embraces many faces. Your telephone blown, black stitches of fatuations. People's a petrol, dramatic, automatic, fofo. I let blow and back down popo when I vex so. My pen taps the paper, then my brains blink. I see dark streets, hustling brothers who keep the same rank, pumping for something. Some are prosperous, surveil, judges hanging niggas, uncorrect bells, for direct sales. My intellect prevails from my hanging cross with nails. I reinforce the frail with lyrics that's real. Word to Christ, a disciple of streets, trifle on beats. I decipher prophecies through a mic to say peace. I hung around the older crews while they sling smack the dingbats. They spoke with Fat Cat, that nigga's name made bell rings. Blacks and fame scream about supreme team of Jamaica Queen's thing. Uptown was outpost, son, heard he was kingpin, yo. Fuck rappers real, watch the herb stand still. Never talking to snakes, cause the words a man kill. True in the game, as long as blood is flowing my vein. I pour my Heineken brew to my deceased crew in memory lane. Coming out of Queensbridge. Coming out of Queensbridge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I flipped that Nas track to the Dance Monkey instrumental like a couple months ago, man. One of my favorite things to do, bro, is make beats, samples, make music in Ableton. I sing too and stuff like that, but yeah, dude, I gotta get back into it, man. I've been taking a little music break, but we can get back into it, dog, for sure, for sure. But anyway, today, dude, one thing I want to talk about, I want to tell a story with this lesson that I learned in Peru back when I was 22, dog. So anyway, man, after graduating from UNCW, man, I was shooting down to Latin America for my first trip, really outside the country, man. I basically traveled around Chile, the south of Peru, and the south of Argentina for like 2.5, 3 months, maybe. Um, Thing is, though, like before my trip, I was like procrastinating packing, and I bombed a hill on my skateboard. I fell down, broke my arm and my wrist. Um, the brake was set perfectly, so I didn't need a cast. I guess the fracture or whatever. But they were like, dude, if you fall on your arm, like you're gonna need like a pretty intense surgery. So I was up in Arequipa, Peru, dude. Sweet high altitude city in the south of Peru. Like you got volcanoes all around. I don't think it's super far from like Cusco where Machu Picchu's at. So my buddies Tom and Dan, they were going to hike this canyon called like Colga Canyon. I couldn't do it since my arm was in a sling and like I couldn't fall, right? So I had like several days where I was just hanging out in Arequipa. Like, this is like a week into my first time outside the country. Didn't really speak Spanish well at the time. And I'm just like sitting down in the Plaza de Armas one day, dude. And like people, like when the Spanish like colonized Latin America, they set up these like plazas de armas in a lot of cities. I guess like they kept the arms underneath of the plaza or something like that. But anyway, dude, it becomes like this gathering place. Like, old ladies are like selling roses to people that are together, like couples. You got people, dancing, street performers, all kinds of stuff, like people just chilling, eating, buying street food, whatever. So I'm sitting on these steps one day and just kind of people watching a little bit, man. And I'm next to this like indigenous Quechuan dude. Well, he told me that later. And he was just like drinking on the steps or whatever. And he asked me like, do you want to go drink some beers? So I was like, all right, dude, I'm down, whatever. So we go into this like dark hallway and then walk 3 stairs up, like platforms up, 3 levels up, and we get to this rooftop. It's like sunset, dude. It's like the craziest view in the city. We get up with some people from France up there. Me and him like probably like each have like 5 beers, and then like we go to like another couple spots after that later, and like I was probably, it's funny, I don't drink anymore, but I was probably like a little bit drunk, and like at one point like, oh my god, like what am I doing or something like that. And like this dude like sensed the energy or whatever, like, and he said to me, he said like, Zach, like if you ever don't like this moment, bro, like we could go our separate ways, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, it was kind of a profound moment for me at 22, bro, because I was like, man, like if you ever fall out of gratitude of being in someone else's presence, like in either direction, like y'all can just like go your separate ways and just like ride out. It's all good, dog. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lesson that like I think like semi-registered with me at 22. It was like just like a bit of like a brain blast, dude, as Jimmy Neutron would say, dog. I was like, wow, dude, that's pretty sick, man. Like that's something to think about. Like, we get this idea like out of being nice or whatever, that like sometimes like we have to like have somebody like in our life in whatever capacity, like because they've been there for a while or like whatever, dude. Like we get caught up being polite, dude, but like you could tell like on someone's energy level, like if they do not have gratitude for you being in a particular place. And like vice versa, man. I think I talked about this the other day about how, people should be batteries, right? I use that reference from the We Can Do Hard Things podcast. And like we all know people that like drain us for whatever reason, dude. And like the best thing to do in that situation, I think, is just like amicably kind of go separate ways, whether it be a friendship, a family relationship, like like a work relationship, whatever it might be, dude. Like I've found like at almost 31 that I like to be in a position where when I'm with somebody, dude, I want to give them my attention if I can and have gratitude for their presence. And like I want them to have gratitude for like my presence when I'm there. And so we can be like those batteries kind of charging each other up, man. So like that dude, I forget your name, in Peru, man. I know you invited me out to the jungle. But bro, hope we cross paths again, man. And thank you for that lesson regardless, bro. Like and just as my man said down there, bro, like if you ever don't like this moment, dog, you could go your separate ways. Probably the only ones that like really like you owe time to would be like your offspring, like your kids and maybe your pets, but besides that, dog, like it's up to you, brother. You know what I'm saying? But hope you like that Nas Dance Monkey flip. Took y'all down the street a little bit to scope out the kayaking. Maybe I'll take y'all with me on a kayak adventure next time the conditions are right. Like and subscribe if you can. Much love.